Hey everyone, welcome to Unfiltered Flow ELSC, the podcast dedicated to the progression of the fluid power and automation industries. And that's right, you just see two of us here today. That's because I'm your host, Megan Cook. My guest today is Mr. Alan Burdette. Hi, Alan.
I'm the guest? I thought I was the co-host.
Surprise!
Great,
Thought
we're off to a good start here.
we'd shake it up this week. Talk to
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
We're cool people, aren't we?
actually, we're
Maybe.
scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Didn't have anybody else
Couldn't
to
get
talk
anybody
to,
else
and
to
that's
come
the
on this
truth.
week.
Tell them the truth, Megan.
Couldn't find anybody else who wanted to participate, so this is what we
That's right.
got. Okay, let's talk about how you got into fluid power.
Well, I had a baby. No, wait a minute, that was you, wasn't it?
My story, but that's good.
Darn, I can't use that one,
People are
can I?
going to be so surprised when they hear this and
I know.
start wondering.
Let me think about it. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I was getting out of the service, and I needed a job because I had a daughter in college and a wife, you know how that goes in a house. So I was sending in resumes to dozens and dozens of companies because that's what you did back then. You looked at the newspaper, you found stuff, you sent in a resume. You wasn't having much luck. What I really wanted to do was to stay in Virginia and go to work for a defense contractor or a government. But the problem was at that time, they didn't allow double dipping. In other words, I couldn't get my retirement and work for the government. One or the other had to go. Now they've since
Okay,
changed
well,
that.
before you get down that far, tell people what you did before your fluid power stint.
Heavy equipment operator. It was heavy equipment.
Okay. For whom?
The U.S.
Okay. Therefore, the double dipping. Now it'll all come
Yeah,
together.
therefore the double dipping. I couldn't retire from the service and get a government paycheck. Now they've since changed that, so you can actually still get your retirement and a government paycheck too. But anyway, back to the story. I digress. So I was sending out resumes to all these companies, and my sister-in-law sent me a snippet from a Cleveland Plain Dealer newspaper up in Cleveland. I don't know if they're still in business or not, but and it was for this hydraulics regional manager role over near Youngstown. So I applied for that and wound up getting the job. Now, why I got the job? I think I got the job because the guy who was the president of the company was a West Point graduate, and I was a Naval Academy graduate. And I think he relished the idea of being able to kick around a Naval Academy graduate who was working for him. And that's why I think I got the job. So I got it, I guess, out of spite, not my spite, but spite from the guy who hired me.
What
And
was
then
the
it just sort of,
area?
pardon me,
What was the coverage area for the RSM role?
Northeast, handled the Northeast U.S.
The entire Northeast.
Yes, and later on, I handled the entire Southeast. So handled the entire Eastern U.S. at some point in time. Yeah, it was the Northeast at that point in time. And there were some interesting trips involved in that. So, yeah.
Where did you move from Virginia then?
I did. I moved from Virginia to up near Youngstown, a little town called Poland, and to live there for 7 wonderful years.
And then
Enjoyed.
what'd you do?
Then what did I do? Well, actually, about 5 years into the stint in the northeastern Ohio area there, I was hired by a different company. I don't know if I can mention the name or not, but they're black
Why
and yellows.
can't you?
Black and yellow is their collars. So anyway, so I spent 2 more years up there with them, so a total of 7 years. Wound up doing what at the time was called mobile sales division. They had a mobile sales division. So, but that's all since changed too. So I wound up doing mobile sales for them up there for 2 years, and then applied for a role as a product sales manager at the Greenville, Tennessee plant, and wound up transferring down here as a product sales manager, and then went back to work after I'd been down here 5 years for the company up in Northeast Ohio. So total of about 30 years between the two companies.
It's a lot of hydraulics. What do you
Yeah.
think has changed the most during that time?
Well, there's a couple of things. The approach, I think, to selling hydraulics has changed. Uh, when I first started, we were coat and tie. I mean, even in the office, you came into the office, you went to see a customer, wherever you went, you were coat and tie. And of course, nobody does that anymore that I'm aware of anyway. So that's a big change.
Well, that's used to be the same thing in concerts, right? I love the band, Dylan. You watch any of that old stuff, Clapton,
Yeah, look at the Beatles. I mean, the
top
Beatles
to
are in
bottom,
suits
the
starting out.
Beatles,
Yeah.
everybody was in a suit. You performed in a suit. That's what you did. It was standard,
Yep. I
right?
know. So it's a more relaxed atmosphere. The selling is a has a more relaxed feel to it. The other thing that I think has changed, and maybe it was there all along, but the companies I worked for just didn't that that type of culture wasn't there. But I don't think people, at least on the sales side, are nearly as inquisitive as when I first started out. And the other thing that's changed is I don't think companies invest as much into training now as they do when I started out. When I started out, it was I'd spend for about the first 6 months there, I'd spend mornings in the shop, and then I'd go put on my I didn't have to wear a coat and tie for that, but then I'd go put on my coat and tie and go to the office in the sales part of the building. So, I did that for 6 months, learned a hell of a lot out in the shop, just about got killed a couple of times, but it was a lot of fun, I learned a lot, and I don't think companies invest in that nearly as much anymore, which is really sad. I think it's becoming more and more commodity driven, or I don't wanna say catalog driven, but people don't really get into the engineering as much as they used to. At least that's my
Well,
feeling.
and that's what I was going to say. At the time you took that RSM role, you were everything in one package, I assume? How much engineering support did you have on the backside? I would have to guess minimal amount of maybe
Well
German engineering support, not a whole bunch internally.
Well, we had one guy internally that knew a lot about pumps and motors, and one guy internally that knew a lot about valves, and the rest was German. It was you and the Germans, so
So, I
yeah.
mean, that was it, and I think that's part of it too. I think that's part of where the dynamic has changed. It's different when you're the face of all of it to the customer.
The sales guy used to be, at least the companies I was with, there was a lot more involved in the engineering portion of the decisions. I mean, they sat in on the engineering meetings, did all of that. I'm not sure that happens a lot nowadays.
Probably does. I think it's more few and far between
Yeah, I think so too.
than what it was. A lot of these larger organizations have fairly stout AE departments, and then they have that layer of product managers and then project managers. And you
Yeah,
did that later in your career. I mean, the larger companies just have a massive amount of layers of people there that I
that's
don't
true.
know that it necessarily forces you to be that intelligent about product all the time.
Yep, and maybe it's not bad. I mean, if you know where to go and who to talk to, I think that's a big part of it too, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem to be as rewarding when you're not in on the whole thing to me. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that goes to, we always one of the reasons that you and I love the industry are just the relationships in it. I mean, we both have people that we've met over the years that were work people that have turned into very good friends that we still keep up with.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's a shift, the shift from not having that one person that is helping sell and engineer and get you product versus a handful of people that are involved in the process. It changes that relationship dynamic for the salesperson.
Yeah, it does, no doubt. And I mean, there have been things that I now that I start to think about the question, I mean, the processes you would go through, just the physical processes. I mean, we didn't have cell phones. Shortly after I got started, we had bag phones, but I mean, you had to have your Rolodex. Yeah, bag phones. You know what a bag phone is.
I do. I just oh my gosh. It's so
But,
funny the things
think
that
about it.
you know about, but you don't think about as life
Yeah.
goes on.
Yeah, I've forgotten about all that. I mean, you'd have and before that, it was you pull over at a rest area and literally get in line for a pay telephone. I mean, people used to stand in lines for pay telephones, especially sales guys trying to make calls and stuff.
And they know how to
So,
use maps. Their
yeah, yeah,
GPS, they actually
exactly.
know how to read a map. Isn't that
Yeah.
something?
Yeah,
Have you ever given
try to
anything
find
to a
something
younger
in
person and said, "Okay, tell me the route we need to go."
try to find something in downtown Toronto when you're driving around trying to look at addresses and stuff, and jeez, that's a great way to have an accident.
We used to have a hell of a time just using the GPS and trying to figure it out, let
Well, that's
alone it
true too. Yeah. I
says
got
it's right there on the right.
about 3 different GPSs in the closet downstairs. I don't have the bag phone anymore, but I had it for years. But just think, I mean, that process has changed so much. And online, just get information online, forget it. I mean, you carried around catalogs. You got a trunk full of catalogs.
Yeah. Well, along the line of changes too, the fluid power in general has changed immensely with offerings and things now. So it's definitely not old school
Yeah, you're
hydraulics.
right.
It's not what people think about when they think about hydraulics.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
how much has that changed?
On the technical side, yeah, it's changed tremendously. I mean, it's with all the electronic controls and the integration and the sensors that they put in now, online monitoring, IoT, preventive maintenance online. I mean, that is just wow,
It's
you know.
crazy. And I keep thinking about, and I, I don't remember hearing about it that much at the time, but I remember going to JCB, the trip to the UK,
Right.
and being into after you
Yeah,
walked in the lobby, went around the corner,
I
there was
remember that.
that glass enclosed
Yep.
room. And
Yep.
then the wall was basically an electronic map, and it had everything that was operating
Around the
around the
world.
globe.
Yeah, that was
And I
impressive.
remember standing there going, "Holy smokes, this is a game changer." Right?
It is.
And that
It
was
is.
how many years ago?
Jeez.
That was pre-COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that was way before COVID.
Yeah. But, at the time thinking, "Holy smokes, this is the coolest thing ever." And now it's mainstreamed
I know.
essentially across the entire industry.
Yeah. That was probably 10 years ago. It's probably 2017, somewhere around
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good trip. I mean, that was a highlight too, seeing that command center they had established there
Yeah.
at headquarters. Yeah.
It was
Impressive.
wild.
Yeah.
And then just to think in less than 10 years, that's happening with a majority of machines out there. Well,
Yep.
the newer machines anyway,
Right. Yep.
obviously.
It's amazing. It's mind-boggling stuff. And now think about what's gonna happen in the next 5 to 10 years. Not that I'll see it, but,
Sure you will. We got a lot
Yeah.
of things to do here. We have a lot of people to change lives for and a lot of companies to make better.
Well, that's true too, and I feel good about that. I think we can do that.
We do good things.
I think
Even
so.
though we moved to the dark side, we're still good
Well, that's
people.
true. That's true.
We love the people and the relationships, right?
That's right.
Oh, what's going to happen in the next 10 years? Immediately what popped into my head was Baroon.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to Baroon, but the electrification portion of all this, I think, is probably going to make the greatest strides in this next decade.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hybridization, though, for the next decade, not totally electrification, and I think he alluded to that when we interviewed him too. Yeah, I think, right now and for the near future that, electric components are gonna be a complement to the hydraulic stuff rather than, replacing. 15 years from now when the battery technology gets a lot better, I mean, maybe that won't be the case, but right now you spend so much time just, changing out batteries, and you lose a lot of payload just carrying those big things around to do heavy duty stuff like in mines or even big trucks, large mining trucks, things like that. They have to carry such huge batteries that it displaces payload, and when you displace payload, it costs you money. So
Mhm.
maybe you're saving something on energy charges. I'm not even sure that's the case, but you're sacrificing payload on these big machines right now.
And I think that, that was something that Barun brought up also, the ROI and a path to the customer
Right.
seeing
Yeah.
ROI and then, making a go forward plan based on that. I think there's still a lot of challenges around that just based on what you said. I think it's hard for OEMs to go down that path and see what's going to happen. There's going to be
Right.
a few of the bigs. I'm sure they're already into it. You're going to see it. We'll see it in different types of applications, but certainly has a ways to go, I think,
Yeah.
before.
Especially for heavy construction and mining, natural resources recovery type stuff. Yeah.
Which, I mean, honestly, is a great spot to utilize it too. So that makes it very interesting.
Yep. It does.
Okay, so I have a question for you. People won't know. So when you were in the Navy, you were a recruiter.
I know. And it was as nasty a term in the Navy as it is now.
Did he? See, folks, he is such a good time with me working together.
That's right.
I mean,
I did it twice. Jeez.
mhm,
That's the definition of insanity, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, I did. I had a good time as a Navy recruiter, but one of the reasons I had a really good time is I had my own plane. So I did recruiting up in Columbus, Ohio, and we had it was among other things, I was a recruiter for naval aviation, and we had our own plane at the recruiting district. It was a Navy plane, a Navy trainer, and part of my job was to take candidates for naval aviation flying and basically try to get them sick, see if they were aeronautically adaptable. So, spent quite a bit of time doing that. When a large portion of your recruiting duties involves, flying an airplane around doing acrobatics.
So you're saying that was more fun than what we're
I,
doing now, than
yeah,
working with me?
I was gonna ask you if I could get a plane, if I could get an airplane and fly around, but I was afraid you wouldn't let me.
That might be a great way to scare the bejesus out of candidates and have them
That's
take
right.
the
You
job.
take this job or we're doing another loop, and I'm putting it in a spin when we're done with that.
Oh, that might be brilliant. That's
Yeah, it could be. That's one way to do
might be a
things.
good way to go. What do you
Coercion.
enjoy about the recruiting part now in the industry, from being in the industry over 30 years to moving into, the dark side, as we call it, since people aren't as anxious to talk to us anymore since we are recruiters. What do you like about it, and what are the differences, and what do you miss versus being actively in the industry, working and going to shows and selling?
Wow. That's a lot.
That's it, yes.
What I enjoy about it is two things: keeping in contact with the people that I worked with in the industry for a long time, keeping those relationships going. I mean, that's it's a different relationship now, but it's still a relationship. A lot of these people, like you said early on, not only were customers of ours, they became my friends. So I'm able to keep in touch with those people, meeting new people. I mean, you got to admit, some of the candidates that we
Mhm.
talk to and we recruit are just impressive people. They they make me feel like I'm a dummy. I don't know, and that's encouraging to me too, to see the type of people that are out there trying to get into the industry.
I agree. Candidates and clients, I think that's on both
Yeah.
sides. Some of the clients that we work with are just phenomenal. Company's great, culture's good. It makes it enjoyable to
Yeah.
work with them as well. That's fun.
The bad part is, you lose touch with the technical side. Sometimes I feel like, I get in a conversation with somebody, and you probably know this too, and I sort of get lost in going down some rabbit hole somewhere about some project and don't ask the questions that I should be asking.
Or, what kind of dog do you have?
Well, yeah, even stuff like that, and finding out that I knew all along what this dog was, but just called it by a different names. It's, it's things like that.
Hey, all this, it goes back to the relationship part of it.
Exactly.
You have to enjoy people and talking to people, I think.
Right.
And loving the industry doesn't hurt, and having a
Right.
background in the industry clearly doesn't hurt. What is that? 7 ways to Kevin Bacon or 6 ways to Kevin Bacon? How many conversations have you had with either a candidate or a client where you don't know them before you start talking to them, and then you go down the rabbit hole,
Yep.
and they know this
Exactly.
person that knows this person that knows this person who used to work here but now works there, right?
Yep.
Always. Very
Happens.
rarely can I think of a conversation that I've had where you don't start running into people that you know, how you met, and then whatever relationship they have there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's a small industry. It really is.
Considering the size of it, it is. It's super small. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And the other thing is, I mean, about the industry is that especially for, the kind of products that we've dealt with in the past, the equipment that you see, I mean, is just
Mm,
impressive too. So, yeah, I miss that part of it.
yeah, I
Yeah, if
do.
anybody out there needs an old sales guy, just call me up.
Well, take a turn manning your booth at the show.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
We're pretty good at it. We've done it for years.
Even set
And
them up once or
now
twice.
we know everybody. I mean, it could be a
Yeah.
whole new
Yeah.
customer base.
That's
You just
right.
never know.
We could work something out there. We could gin up a contract for that.
Well, sure.
I don't
Everything's
wanna
negotiable.
wanna get off here with talking about one other thing in the industry
Okay.
that's huge, and that's, consolidation. I mean, I just cannot believe the degree of consolidation we're seeing in this industry. I think, before too long, there's just gonna be 2 or 3 big guys, and that's it. So and I don't know when that's gonna happen. But as you said in one of your posts on LinkedIn, it does open up some doors for people for innovation. There's always gonna be people sneaking in the back door, with a new idea, building it up. Like we were talking about the other day, 50 years ago, there was no well, just barely 50 years ago, there was just barely an Apple computers, and now they're the most valuable company or second most valuable company in the world in 50 years. So it's just, innovation could change some of that, but right now, everything, it just seems to be being sucked up on both the manufacturing side and the distribution side, both.
That's the most interesting part to me that it's on both sides there. And yes, it is. I've never seen anything like it. Well, you and I both. I mean, obviously, we've had this conversation
And it's happening
multiple
quickly.
times, but
It's happening quickly.
it is extremely quick. I really do think it will open up the door for the smaller, more niche, more systems heavy, design heavy
Yeah,
on the distribution side specifically. It's going to open up opportunity there with the consolidation that's going on. You know how many layers that creates, and then how much time that factors
yeah.
into processes, and then the end result of that, how it lengthens a project essentially. You have that, and then you also have the added in safety concerns, doing something that is outside of
That's right.
what is
Risk.
considered the norm. It'll open up not the mavericks, I guess, but it will open a space for those folks that are pure systems folks that are willing to take on different and challenging projects. They will have a massive opportunity to grow in the next 10 years.
You're right.
So I'm hoping at least we'll see more of those pop up, more opportunity, more people that say, okay, yeah, there's definitely a need for this. I can offer that need.
Yeah. I think as technology advances and all of these things get more and more complicated as they have over the end, you'll see those people popping up, and then they'll be around a couple of years and somebody will buy them up.
You think so? The people build them up to be bought up? Well,
Yeah,
maybe. You never know.
we'll see. I'll be back in a couple of years and we'll see.
Yeah, we can do this again in a couple of years, see how it
Okay.
is. Okay, buddy. Well, always good
All
to
right.
talk to you.
Same here. And thanks for your time. It was a
Yeah.
pleasure being on with you on this end of the microphone, or I'm always on this end. It's just a different end of the table.
Hey, buddy, I'll talk to
Okay.
you.
All right, Megan. Take
Bye.
care.